Hello and welcome to I Hit Drums. We are now on to lesson 9 of the beginner video course. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at different kinds of rests and how they feature within music and when we can use them. And as is usually the case, we're going to be focusing on quarter notes, eighth notes and 16th notes, but this time with rests rather than notes. But we'll also look at a couple of other rests that you're likely to come across as a beginner drummer. So what are rests? Simply put, a rest is a space. It's a space within music where nothing happens. And as I mentioned in lesson 6 when we talked about note values, drumming is a little bit different when it comes to those notes. If you imagine a piano holding down a key for a quarter note, it's going to be holding down that key longer than an eighth note or a 16th note. But within drumming, a note signifies when you hit something and then how long you've got to wait until you can do the next thing. But rests can also be useful to create space between notes. And these rests do tend to come from those more melodic instruments, but we still use them in drumming as well. There are two kinds of rests that you will see in drumming, which don't always directly link to what you're playing. And by that I mean it's quite a large chunk of silence. And the first of these is a semi-breathe. Now, I haven't gone over this within the drum notes in the past because we don't really use it within drumming very much. We don't use a semi-breathe to display a hit because a semi-breathe takes up 4 beats and is used to basically describe a whole bar. So if you have a semi-breathe note on beat 1, it's going to last all the way until the end of the bar, which on a piano would be a very long held note, but on a drum would just be a pop. But the rest does mean something a little bit more. A semi-breathe rest within drum music indicates an empty bar. And in several of the songs that we're going to look at, there's going to be several bars where there is nothing happening and you just have to wait. And during that wait, you just keep count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe come in the next bar. So that's a semi-breathe rest that lasts for a whole bar, and it's often used when there's nothing going on in a bar. The other kind of rest that you'll come across is a minim rest, and this lasts for 2 beats. Now again, we don't often see a minim note within drumming very much because we can't really create that kind of sustain on this instrument, but the rest will appear. And this looks very similar to a semi-breathe, only the little block sits on a different part of those 5 lines of the musical stave. So the rest for a semi-breathe is kind of attached to the underside of that 4th line, but the rest for a minim is sitting on top of the middle line. So it's a semi-breathe lasting for a whole bar or 4 beats, and then the minim which lasts for 2 beats or half a bar. So before we get into any exercises in this lesson, I want to introduce you to a concept that I've called the rule of 4. It's not really a rule because within drumming there's always more than one way to go about something, but I just called it the rule of 4 and I think it's a helpful way of having a consistent way that you're playing anything on the kit really. And simply put, when you have 4 consecutive hits, whether that's quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, or whether that's 8th notes, 1 and 2 and, or whether that's 16th notes, 1 E and a, you should always play this right, left, right, left. And the reason that I found this really helpful in my own playing and why I teach this to my private pupils is because it means that you're always having this consistent pattern depending on what kind of note value you're dealing with. And this is especially important with 16th notes when you're playing quite quickly. So when you're playing 16th notes and you're going 1 E and a, 2 E and a, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, once we start introducing some rests, that's going to leave a space at a particular point. But by maintaining this sticking pattern, 1 E and a, right, left, when we have a rest on, say, 1 E and, on the and, that would normally be a right hand, 1 E and a. So when we encounter a rest there and we need to not play a hit, I want you to miss out the right hand. And what this means is that regardless of what combination of notes and rests you're playing, a number and an and will always be a right hand within 16th notes, and an E and an A will always be a left hand within 16th notes. And the same thing applies to 8th notes. If you're playing right, left on 1 and 2 and, it means that a right hand is always going to fall on a number within 8th notes, and a left hand is always going to fall on an and within 8th notes. And you can transfer this also to quarter notes, but because quarter notes in nature are slower, it doesn't matter quite so much. But as things get faster, this rule of 4, it can just train your muscle memory to respond in a way that you don't have to think too hard about it. It just kind of gets trained into you, and then it always happens. And then when you encounter different rhythms with different rests, you don't have to think too hard about it. It's more automatic. But I'll go over that a bit more as we work through the following exercises. So if we look at this pattern here, we've just got 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're playing that right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. In the next example, we're missing out beat 2. Now this would have normally been a right hand. So because we're not playing that hit, because there's a rest there, it means that we're going to go right, left, left, right, left, right, left. So we miss out the right hand that should have been there. So let's start with quarter notes and quarter note rests. So you can see here we have a quarter note and then its kind of rest counterpart. The quarter note rest looks kind of like a weird sort of squiggle thing. But that rest lasts just as long as a normal quarter note. The only difference is one makes a sound and one doesn't. But the space that they take up is exactly the same. Let's move to the kit and try our first exercise. So just to reiterate, the rule of 4 for quarter notes, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're playing that right, left, right, left. So if we look at the very first bar, we can see that we have a rest on beat 3. So normally that would have been a right hand. So that first bar is going to end up being right, left, 3, left. Make sense? And in the second bar, we've got 2 and 3 as notes, but beats 1 and 4 are both rests. So beat 1 would normally be a right hand, beat 4 would normally be a left. So this is going to be 1, left, right, 4. We're going to try this exercise 60 BPM. I'll count us in and we'll go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see there I was kind of air drumming those hits that we're not playing. That can help you maintain that sticking in the initial stages. Eventually it'll become so automatic that you don't need to think about it. So a nice easy start. So now let's move on to 8th notes and 8th note rests. You can see here we've got our 8th note, which you should be quite familiar with now if you've done lesson 6. So the 8th note, remember, has a little tail that comes off of it. Its rest counterpart looks kind of like a Y or a 7. It's a little squiggle again, but it's a smaller one. So again, this 8th note rest takes up exactly the same amount of time as an 8th note. So let's try an exercise with 8th notes now. We've got the same rule of 4 is going to apply to our sticking. The main difference here is that it's going to be faster. We're going twice as fast, so we're thinking 1 and 2 and right, left, but we're still playing at 60 BPM. So let's give this one a try. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Even though we're only at the 8th note speed, that might be quite challenging for you. For the simple reason that you're reading 2 bits of information. You've got the hits and you've got the rest to take into account along with that sticking. So let's just try that one once more. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, eighth notes, eighth note rests. And now we're on to 16th notes and 16th note rests. So you can see here we've got our 16th note with the two tails, and you might notice that the 16th note rest looks a bit like the 8th note rest, but again with two tails. So an 8th note has got a single tail and the rest is a little whoop. And then the 16th note has two tails, and the rest for a 16th note also has two little tails coming off it. So that's how you can tell them apart. But let's move to the kit and let's try an exercise using 16th note rests. So this is going to be pretty challenging. And what I want you to try and think about is when you see a rest, or in certain cases two rests, you want to think of those two rests as, the space of two hits. So d-d, air drumming those two hits. I'm actually going to slow this down to 40 because this is quite challenging at 60 BPM, and the speed of it, not only for your playing but for the reading of it, is pretty complex. So let's slow it right down. Let's give ourselves a chance to play this and read this without getting too stressed out. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... That one's very tough. If you got that and you're feeling confident, let's bump it up to 60. Let's give it a try. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Very tricky. That's one that you can maybe start at a slower speed and gradually work your way up. Hopefully you've got a good sense of those three different rest values now. But strictly speaking, the last exercise wouldn't be written that way. There's a few reasons why. We wouldn't normally have two 16th note rests next to each other, like you can see here. And the reason for that is that two 16th notes last the same amount of time as one 8th note. So it makes a lot more sense to change those two 16th note rests into one 8th note rest. And for a similar reason, if we look at this first bar, we've got the rhythm 2 and a. So we're missing out the E. And it's not very common to actually write out a 16th note on beat 2, followed by a rest on the E, and then two more 16th notes. It's much more common that you would actually just have one 8th note followed by two 16th notes, because it means the same thing, but it's less information that your eyes are having to kind of read. It's just a bit neater. So that original exercise of this should actually be written like this. Now within that, there's going to be some rhythms which maybe look a bit unfamiliar at this stage, but in a future lesson, we are going to address those different rhythms. So don't worry about that for now. But also, the same kind of thing applies to the 8th note exercise. Within the first bar of that 8th note exercise, we had 1 and 2 as 8th notes, a rest on the and, another 8th note on 3, and then a rest on the and of 3, and then 4 and. Again, we wouldn't normally write an 8th note, then an 8th note rest when it's a number followed by the and. Instead, we'd just have a quarter note on beat 2 and a quarter note on beat 3. So once again, the 8th note exercise, which originally looked like this, should actually look like this. So that combination of 8th notes and quarter notes is how you should expect to see music written down, rather than having a bunch of rests all over the place. So I hope you've got a good understanding of those different rest values now. And the reason that we've been looking at those rest values is because in the next lesson, we're going to be focusing on that 8th note rest within some grooves. And we're also going to start looking at a new song called Oh Yeah. So that'll be lesson 10 that you want to keep an eye out for. So until that next lesson, enjoy.